Livestock brands open windows into history. They uncover stories, fill in missing pieces to events forgotten or left unrecorded. They shed light on lives long past. They bridge generations. In our Montana Moment season debut, Kevin Mackey with The Journey.
This is where my journey began, was with the brand in an unmarked grave.
Somewhere in the Bannock Cemetery lies Debbie Tamcke's great-great-uncle Isaac Rowe. Isaac died in the 1870s. Because you didn't need a death certificate in those days, Debbie's not sure where his plot is. But for Memorial Day, she picked a spot and honored him the best way she could.
I just felt compelled to acknowledge that he is here.
Isaac and his brother, William Rowe, who was Debbie's great-great-grandfather, owned a brand called The Five. It was eventually passed on to Debbie's uncle, Andy Forsyth, who in turn gifted it to Debbie. It's one of her most prized heirlooms.
And it's legacy.
The Rowe brothers settled in Bannock soon after gold was discovered here in 1862. They owned a butcher shop and slaughterhouse in Bannock's heyday.
My great-great-grandfather bought 200 head of cattle to supply the butcher shop.
Debbie believes he branded those cattle with The Five.
Everything I read, they seemed to be teamsters.
Debbie says gold seekers may have been so busy looking for riches they didn't think about practical essentials. But William did. He once made a 740-mile round trip to Salt Lake City with 25 wagons drawn by horses and maybe oxen to pick up provisions.
25 wagons, and he left July 1st of a year, made it all the way to Salt Lake, and made it back to Bannock like the middle of October, first part of November, with food and any supplies they needed.
It was the Wild West, and the Rowe brothers lived it.
My great-great-grandfather, William Rowe, and great-great-uncle, which would have been his brother, oldest brother Isaac, were vigilantes in Bannock.
It was a lawless time when vigilantes served justice on suspected gold shipment robbers and their reputed leader, Sheriff Henry Plummer. Debbie says it's documented family history. What isn't documented is why they chose the Five brand.
If I could go back in time and have just an hour with my great-great-grandfather, I'd have a list of questions. What made you pick the Five brand?
It's a mystery. She has the same question about the 7L brand, which came from her great-great-uncle Joe Scheinberger on her mom Judy's side.
Why was the 7L significant to Joe?
Joe's sister, Margaret Rowe, was Debbie's great-great-grandmother.
And my mother was a Rowe descendant, and in her history file, she had the 7L brand, which is the brand that we use today, that came from the Rowe side and the Scheinberger side.
Joe Scheinberger partnered with fellow pioneer Martin Barrett on what's known as the Cross Ranch from 1864 to 1871. Joe left the Cross and started another ranch near Armstead, Montana at Red Rock. He took the 7L with him. But 125 years later, Debbie and her husband, Tom Tamcke, moved back to where it all began.
We traded the Red Rock place for the place that we're on now, the Cross Ranch.
Today, the old 7L is the official Cross Ranch brand. The 7L is convenient, easy to use.
And the one unique thing with the 7L, you only need one iron to brand. You do the 7, turn it upside down, brand with the L.
In the mix is another important family brand.
This is the Diamond O brand.
The Diamond O, which was owned by Debbie's paternal grandmother, Ruby Staudenmeyer.
And then she transferred the brand to my father when he returned from the service in Germany.
Bill Staudenmeyer has now passed his mother's Diamond O brand onto his son, Will, Debbie's brother. Will and Patty Jo Staudenmeyer and their family are part of the family corporation, too. It's known as Centennial Livestock.
My father and my sister and brother-in-law and
myself
Patty and I.
Yeah, that are here.
Yeah.
When you're talking brands, it is personal. They are as unique as the jackleg fences that stretch across the Horse Prairie Valley.
That's where the stories come in.
All these brands, all this history meld into a multi-family legacy. At 5,800 feet, the Cross Ranch is high country, but it's relatively sheltered from severe weather. This remote, open landscape is Montana at its most glorious.
Lewis and Clark saw their first horses here in Horse Prairie, and It has a mild climate. We do get snow, a lot of it, but not enough that the animals don't have enough to forage on the good grasses.
That lush grass and careful genetic selection give mother cows abundant milk to produce well-structured, heavy calves.
We try and raise a 565-pound calf that is born on the average the 15th of April, and by the 20th of October, we try and produce 565 pounds of calf on the average.
This is cattle country.
Yes, the grass. There's lots of grass. You can raise good hay crop and good water. I get to wake up early in the morning, get on my horse by 7:30, and I get to enjoy the mountains, the quiet.
Trace it all back to a hillside splashed with sagebrush and tombstones.
This is still standing. After all these years, we're still standing.
Next week, a story of tradition and the Cross Ranch branding crew.
I'll tell you what, this crew is like a well-oiled machine.
Kevin Mackey, NBC Montana.